Okay, saying that it's live. All right. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you are in YouTube land. This is Marky Mark back with another video. This is actually my second live that I'll be doing here on YouTube. Every other video is pre-recorded, and I'm not sure if you guys could see by the title. We'll be talking about the state of the territory, which is the U.S. Virgin Islands in particular. Today, I am actually being joined by Gail and Gary, who are brother and sister duo from the island of St. John. And I'll let them introduce themselves and give a little bit more information about themselves, including they're also on social media, so they could provide their social media handles and so forth, and a little bit more information about themselves, because I know you guys already know about me. All right, so go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, hi everybody. My name is Gail Jackson, if you want to know my last name. And I am from St. John, like what Marcus said. And Gary and I actually are, yes, we are content creators, and we have a YouTube channel called Gail and Gary USVI. So just happy to be here and to contribute to your topic.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, my name is Gary Jackson from St. John, and I have been a content creator for a while now, primarily on TikTok. So you can follow me at Gary J5943 on TikTok. But Gail and I also have a YouTube channel, which is Gail and Gary USVI. But I'm on Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook. But we're happy to be here to talk about this topic that Marcus decided he wants to have a little discourse on.
Yeah. All right, great. So glad to have both of you guys joining me in on the discussion today. As you guys know, if you live in the Virgin Islands, y'all already know what's going on. So one of the topics that we will be talking about today is going to be WAPA. That's the number one topic. We'll also be talking about public works, healthcare, and education in the U.S. Virgin Islands. And if you guys have if you're joining in on the live and you guys have any other, let's say, you have any other topics that you want to speak about, just type it down in the comments, and we will go ahead and actually engage with your comments as well and so forth. Before getting into that, a lot of people don't know. Most people know about St. Thomas and St. Croix, but the little know Gary, from expressing his feelings online, I always feel as if St. John is being left behind. So, Gary, if you could go ahead and explain a little bit about the precious gem, the hidden gem of St. John, or what you like best about the island that you'd like to showcase to other people today.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and start with the positive part.
Okay.
You said, what do I like best? So what I like about St. John is that it is very close-knit. I think because it's small, growing up there, we had an opportunity to really become close with people that live there. And just, I like that we practically knew everybody when we were growing up. And it just felt very safe. You felt supported by your friends and family. And it was just, to me, a really strong knit community. Aside from its natural beauty, I enjoyed just being a St. Johnian, and also the fact that our father is from St. John. He was born in St. John, and our heritage goes back, our ancestry goes back to the 1800s. So,
wow.
So we are St. Johnians. And I think that as we think about St. John and we think about the U.S. Virgin Islands, when we see that we are not included in discussions, that are about the U.S. Virgin Islands,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's intentional or unintentional. I just can't sit by and act like, hey, we're a part of these U.S. Virgin Islands too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you're gonna be talking about anything that's related to the U.S. Virgin Islands, for Crucian or Saint Tomian to literally say Saint Croix or Cruz and Saint Thomas,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, okay, you all know the same history that I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how could you how could you even continue a conversation without including St. John? And it's
Mm-hmm.
done a lot and in many, many situations. So, um, yes, he says that on social media, I will jump in and I will definitely talk about the fact that St. John is here. Yes, I'm going to continue to do that
Yeah.
because we are here.
All right. Awesome. Gail.
I mean, I don't know how much more I could add to that, but I echo the same sentiments as my brother. You know, we show up definitely very strong when it comes to St. John.
Mm-hmm.
And just like to give that perspective because I think that sometimes, like Gary says, sometimes it's intentional and sometimes it's could be unintentional. I think it could be coming from a place of not knowing per se.
Mm-hmm.
And we like to offer the St. John perspective in most discussions as it relates to the US Virgin Islands.
Correct. Correct. Okay, awesome. Well, I would like to share also for St. John. I used to love going St. John, even when I was younger and so forth. My father had a friend who was a taxi driver over there. So every now and then, when we had like little 3 day weekends and so forth, we would go over on a little tour to St. John. I used to love going out to Annaberg ruins and so forth, and they used to be making dumb bread and the oven. They used to have a woman out there. I don't know if we could even find out the name of the woman who used to be out there baking dumb bread on a little hearth oven and so forth. But that thing used to be the best thing, especially when you slap in some cheese and everything like that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Those are some of my fondest memories and earlier memories of going to St. John and so forth. Just as a FYI for people who may not know, St. John, primarily if you're going to school over there, there are like early education schools over there, including up to elementary. But for junior high and high school, unless you're going to private school, you would have to come over, catch a boat, a ferry, and come over to the island of St. Thomas for that.
Well, correction. Let me correct that.
Okay. Mhm.
So St. John actually goes up, I think, currently to eighth grade.
Oh, to eighth grade now. Okay.
It used to actually go up to ninth grade,
Mm-hmm.
but that discontinued a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But now you can actually you can go up to the eighth grade via the
Mm-hmm.
public school, and they
Oh,
also have private schools
mm-hmm.
that have full high school.
Oh,
Up to
okay.
high school. One of those private schools, and I think that the name
Mm-hmm.
of that is Gift Hill
Yeah, correct.
School. Mhm.
Mm, okay, okay. Well,
And
since we're on the topic, we gonna stay on education. Gary, you were saying something?
no, I was going to say, what's interesting about that is
Mm-hmm.
that the where the grade, the up to eighth grade,
Mm-hmm.
historically, our father, he shared with us his experience. He had got it. They went up to eighth grade, which was, and this was in the 1950s.
Mm-hmm.
Went up to eighth grade, and then to in order to continue, you had to now go to Amalia High School because that was the
Mm-hmm.
only high school. So certainly you see what the challenge was for St. Julian at that time was
Mm-hmm.
to figure
Yeah.
out how this would happen because initially there was no ferry that was going back and forth like that on an hourly basis.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so any aspiring students that needed to go to past eighth grade had
Mm-hmm.
to find a host to
Oh,
live
wow.
in St. Thomas. So
Mm-hmm.
his host was his godmother, and who was basically like a mother to him, and
Mm-hmm.
had a lot of children. And I don't want to venture to say how many, but it certainly was at least between 8 to 10.
Wow.
And she took him in, so he was able to graduate from the class of 1962 from
Okay.
CHS.
Mm-hmm.
So this unique. Being a St. Julian is kind of unique because even
Yeah.
when we became high schoolers, at
Mhm.
that time it was ninth grade for me, and Gail is 6 years younger than me, and it was ninth grade for her. We
Mhm.
had to now go to Ivana Eudora Ken.
Correct.
So it's unique, but I mean, we took whatever those challenges were and we overcame them.
Okay, okay. Of course, of course. And that's something we hoping to strive to do because I was listening to a historian. I'm not sure if you guys follow Shani DeWint. She's another person on social media who posts a lot of stuff about history about the Virgin Islands. But she was
Mm-hmm.
talking about a lot of what the earlier governors of the Virgin Islands actually did in ways of bringing us forward from where we were at the time and so forth. And they did things in leaps and bounds. They had a lot of significant contributions to the Virgin Islands on a whole in terms of bringing us from where we were to where we are now and so forth. But in still talking about education, how many of the schools, to your knowledge, have get destroyed during the hurricanes?
In St. John.
Yeah, in St. John.
So, to my knowledge,
Mhm.
Julius Sprouse School was the only active school,
Uh-huh.
public
Oh,
school,
oh wow, okay.
on island in 2017.
And what
The
grade? What
government,
grade is that?
that's the school that goes up to the eighth grade.
Okay.
The other public school, Guy H. Benjamin School, was
Mhm.
closed a few years prior to, well,
Oh,
not even a few, like it's been quite some time that school has
mhm,
been closed. And
mhm.
that was the elementary school. Gary and I actually went to that school as well.
Okay.
And it's located in the Coral Bay area.
Mhm.
So that school has been abandoned, basically.
Oh wow.
And it's derelict. But Julius
Mhm.
Sprouse School was the one that was destroyed, and they're in modular schools now, just
Oh,
like
okay.
CHS.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that's one of the things that I wanted to mention. After the hurricanes, there are several schools, including CHS, which was my alma mater that I went to on the island of St. Thomas. There's Cancrine, Alita Cancrine Junior High School, and a couple other element. Well, I know of Cohen Terrace. I'm not sure of any others that have been damaged, and they still are basically meeting either in modular classrooms or sharing space with other schools as well. And it's been almost what, 7 years? It's been over 7 years, going on 10 years. Next year would make 10 years, guys, since the hurricanes of 2017, and nothing
Yeah.
much has happened. Not one brick has been laid in terms of a school getting built back several times. I like to not only mention a problem but come with a solution. For the longest while, there was a apartment complex called Warren E. Brown Apartments. That's across from Barbell Plaza, where the newest fire station is on the island of St. Thomas. And I always was suggesting those were knocked down, and I always was suggesting that's more than enough space for them to put concrete in school. But I heard they already had plans for that. According to what I heard, the credit union, St. Thomas Federal Credit Union, is going up there. But even still, they still have space going higher up the hill for them to put the school. You understand? So I don't see why they don't do that. That's more than a perfect place, more than enough space to put that school and then get Charlotte Amalia High School up and going and situated. From what I've learned, they're making more progress on the island of St. Croix. So I must mention that too. They have at least two or three schools being built already or rebuilt, and they're almost in the process of completion. They should be up and ready by the new school year this year. And the reason they said for that being is that um, what you call it, building supplies and so forth is cheaper on the island of St. Croix, which I could understand. So that's the reason I was given when they were explaining why none of the schools have began construction or rebuilding on the island of St. Thomas compared to St. Croix. And then, as you mentioned, Julia Sproul, I don't know what the status is with that.
So, So,
Mhm.
to my understanding, again, I'm not
Mhm.
trying to be the expert or anything, but from
Yeah.
my knowledge,
Mhm.
there was no plan to rebuild Julius Sprouse
Oh,
School.
wow.
The
Okay.
plan was to relocate the school to
Mhm.
another location.
Mhm.
However, there was this issue with adequate land.
Okay, yeah,
And I don't know if you remember, there was this
the land
huge,
swap, the land
yes, the
swap is
land swap
yeah,
issue.
yeah, yeah.
And there was people who were opposed to the land swap, and there were
Hmm.
people who were for it.
Yeah,
And
correct.
ultimately, they voted to do the land swap.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So there are plans, I think, still, of course, to
Hmm.
build that school in that location.
Hmm.
But the progress as far as building, I don't think anything has started with building the school at this point.
Okay, okay. As far as Charlotte Amalia High School goes, because I did do a video on that, I think sometime in the middle of last year when they were demolishing it.
Mm.
Um, so they finally demolished it last year when we were given the promise of it being done like in 2019. They finally demolished it last year, and they said that they hope in the summer of this year to start building. And the timeline that was given was 7 years from start to finish. So, but knowing, going based on their
Seven
history of doing
seven
things,
years to build a
7 years to build a school?
yeah, which is crazy for me, but that's what I heard. Yeah,
Why is it taking that
I
long?
think they said 5 to 7 years, buddy.
I'm not understanding when I am seeing schools erected here in Atlanta within a
Oh,
year.
yeah, totally different story. Every time I come up to Atlanta, I get lost because a whole new building done gone up in the six
Yeah.
months they've been gone.
And
Yeah,
and even more than that, what I guess maybe you were going to go into that part of the
mhm,
conversation, but why is it that these schools haven't been rebuilt? We should have state of the art schools.
exactly.
Since 2017, every one of those schools that needed to be repaired and restored or rebuilt or whatever you want should be state of the art.
Yeah, correct, correct.
And then you said that your understanding is that supplies are cheaper on St. Croix.
Yes, that's what they told me.
Very
Why
okay.
is that?
I don't know. I don't understand.
Okay.
And I don't know if they might say have something to do with the gas over there to being able to transport the materials to and from the dock. You know how gas is over here more expensive over here compared to over there. I don't know if that factors into the equation, but even still, it would be minute, even if there is a difference. But that was the reason they gave me when I was asking why they couldn't at least been one over in St. Croix and one St. Thomas. That was the reason that I was given as to why no schools are being built over there as yet, over here as yet. Yeah.
Yeah, that's normally an issue with me when you hear some of these, you know, updates.
Hmm.
Then they don't justify what they say. Like, how do
Exactly.
you justify it taking 7 years to build a school?
Well,
Hmm.
it's
Like,
more than seven at this point. So we're at the like he said, we're at the ninth year.
Yeah.
well, I understand the federal government process is not necessarily that efficient. It does take a long time to get funding. And then, of course, the VI government has to match these funds. And sometimes they have to go, try to
Right.
get
Yeah.
those requirements waived and what's not. So that takes time. But to me, once you've gotten through those hurdles, I just don't understand why it takes so long to get things done in a territory.
Yeah. That's one thing we definitely have to work on. It's really crazy and mind blowing. Oh, it takes so long for everything, every project to be completed and so forth from start to finish. When up in the States, as I said, one of my best friends from high school, he lives in Texas now, and he tells me, man, they have like a stretch of land they cleared out, and within 1 year, they had a elementary, middle, and high school from start to
Absolutely.
finish in 1 year. All
In a
gone.
year. Yeah.
Exactly. All up from the clearing of the land to the time they put down the last top on the roof, bam. It was
Yeah.
done in a whole year.
And
Elementary, junior high, and high.
yeah. And I see that in my community. And to be honest
Mhm.
with you, when I moved here in 2001, I signed on at a school that
Mhm.
was not built. Um,
Wow.
and we were in satellite locations. They split us in three different schools. Um,
Hmm.
so our school was one school. We had a name,
Yeah.
but we were in different locations, and
Hmm.
so that was dirt on that property in July, and we moved into that school in December.
Hmm. Wow.
The school
Yeah.
was great.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying, man. These projects in the States be going up like boop, 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 one time. And as they said, when they did put our children in the schools and so forth in 2017, they mentioned, yeah, it's a modular classroom that's only temporary. But everything in VI that's temporary end up being long term. So much to the fact that the schools are getting the little modular classrooms are leaking and so forth now because they
Yeah,
are
yeah.
only meant to be temporary at 2 or 3 years max at the most, and they're getting mold and all kind of thing like that, man. So that's turned into a whole nother problem now. You
Yeah.
understand?
And
Yes.
and what message are you sending to the community? What message are you sending to the children when
Mm-hmm.
they cannot get the best?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Because I really feel sad for our children. I feel that they're being left behind. You know, a lot of times the people who are running for Senate or whatever are always campaign saying, "Oh, the children are our future," but they're just saying that a lot of time just to get votes. Because unfortunately, we don't see it when it comes down to the things that actually are happening and taking place here in the Virgin Islands. I really feel as if our children are being left behind. Because I work with my sister has a nonprofit organization. We work with the youth every year. She has a program for the youth and so forth, and I get to speak with them about different things. I usually teach the photography class. They love it when I bring my drone and stuff like that too, and so
Mm-hmm.
forth. But I was speaking to them also because I went to school for graphic design, AIU in Atlanta, and I was asking them, do they have any like graphic design classes, any class on meet about social media or creating videos and film and stuff like that? And they're like, no. So honestly, we're being left behind, and everything the children basically have to learn on their own. Unfortunately, the first time I started, it's sad that in high school they didn't have a graphic design class per se. The closest thing to that probably would have been the yearbook class, and that was an elective too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the first time I ever touched a computer to do anything like graphic design, work in Adobe or Illustrator, was in the States. And unfortunately, now it's still the case. Some 30 years later, because I'm actually our class is celebrating our 30-year class reunion this year, and the children who are leaving from here who might have an interest in this kind of thing, they're way behind because the first time they touch this kind of stuff, unless their mother or somebody bought them a computer and they're self-taught, the first time that they're going to be able to be taught any kind of this stuff is or teach or even touch a computer and be exposed to this kind of stuff is when they unfortunately go to the school in the States.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, our education didn't change with the
Mm-hmm.
times. And to me, there should be even classes in school that teaches you how to use a drone. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
teaches you how to start a YouTube channel. I
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
mean, these are ways that people are actually making money today, you
Yeah,
know?
Absolutely.
exactly.
I
So I don't
agree.
see how we have not transformed into providing that type of information to our youths. It's
Mm-hmm.
needed.
Yeah.
Exactly,
It,
definitely.
I don't, it's really unfortunate that we don't do this because we have so much talent in the U.S. Virgin Islands. And if we were just given the same opportunities as
Mm-hmm.
people in the United States or even internationally, could you imagine what we would be like? It would
Mm-hmm.
just be we would be outstanding. And we still, and what's interesting with all of without having the best technology or the best programs um
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, we still rise to the top.
Exactly.
I saw an example of that last week,
Mm-hmm.
where I saw a video where CHS music department had gone to the States to be in some event, and
Mm-hmm.
um, they were outstanding. And I don't necessarily know the areas that they were outstanding, but they came home, I think, last week, and they were celebrating at their arrival at the airport, and I was so proud to see these young people. And they interviewed them and how excited they were to have this experience, but to also come back with awards, first and second
Mm-hmm.
place God.
Yeah.
I just, those are the types of things that make me very excited because
Yeah,
I
me too.
know the obstacles that, not firsthand, but I can
Mhm.
relate as a Virgin Islander, the limitations sometimes in support, in
Mhm.
resources and stuff to be able
Exactly.
to now go on with
Yeah,
all these places that have all the resources and everything
exactly.
so well. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I like the phrase that says I don't know which island it came from, but they say we little but we talawa.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
I
think that's a
believe that.
Jamaican saying, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. I think that aptly represents us here in the Virgin Islands because
Mm-hmm.
though we are small, when you combine it, about 140 something square miles total altogether, or not even. Let me see. Yeah, about that. Basically, we just doing big things, man, and
Yeah.
there are a lot of people from the VI doing big things, the
Yeah.
worldwide, all the world over,
Yeah.
especially like I was hearing someone the other day sharing the fact that in the terms of revitalizing Main Street and so forth, excuse me, one of the things that they should actually build is like a Virgin Islands Hall of Fame. I think that would be awesome
Mhm.
because there are thousands of tourists who come to our shows visiting each day. And my question in my mind is like, how much have they actually learned when they go back? When they touch the island for the little, let's say 8 hours, if they come on a cruise ship, how much about the Virgin Islands have they actually learned? In some cases, there's actually probably a street they might be living on or in their same city where they live that might be named after a Virgin Island and they don't even know that that's a Virgin Island. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like Emil Griffith and so forth. He was well known the world over. And so, even when I went to college in the States, when this guy, professor, learned that I was a Blyden, he's like, man, you're a descendant of Edward Wilmot Blyden. The guy was so excited. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I never
Mm-hmm.
meet anybody down here who gets so
Mm-hmm.
excited about
Mhm.
me being a Blyden. You understand?
Mhm.
I was like,
Probably
wow,
not.
exactly.
But
The man made me feel like I was a celebrity, honestly. You understand? So
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. There are people who to be so excited about people they know of from the Virgin Islands, but yet they don't get like the recognition they deserve sometimes. That's the
Mm-hmm.
way I feel. And I therefore a Hall of Fame would be very, very, very good,
Mm-hmm.
especially when the tourists and so forth come in, man. So once again, if we could just get we know now that based on who's in office, they cutting funding and stuff like that for education, and a lot of that stuff gonna have to fall back on our backs now and so forth. So honestly, I think as Gary was saying, we just have to rise to the challenge and step up and provide ways because we have great ideas, man. We just need to get leaders who would be open to finding out and working alongside people like us who are younger because we already know a lot of them old heads just want to stay in there till they old and can't even move. They have one guy right now, I think in Congress, who they have to help in and out. Like, why are you doing that as somebody young? You know what I'm saying?
I
Man,
think that's the thing about us. Like, we are the US Virgin Islands, and a
uh-huh,
lot of the ways, the same things that's happening on the mainland level, we
uh-huh.
adapt a lot of the bad ways of the
Exactly.
mainland.
Yeah,
We,
unfortunately.
because that elderly thing is a problem. Like,
Yeah, it
when
is.
when I was working home in my capacity, that was
Mm-hmm,
something that I just could not understand why there were so many elderly people
mm-hmm.
who were twice retired
Yep, yep,
that
yep.
would stay in these roles of
Yeah,
leadership. And I mean,
yeah.
you would be literally in a meeting and they falling asleep. Like,
That's crazy.
I mean, and I'm like, why these people don't go home? And
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
just say, this is what's happening here. That's sad because people
yeah.
like me, I mean, yes, I had an opportunity to lead in my role, but
Mm-hmm.
those jobs are now being held up
Exactly.
by them who need to
Exactly.
go home and leave it, make it available to somebody else who might want to come back home from college to work,
Exactly.
in a
Exactly.
leadership
Exactly.
role.
Exactly. So, and for lack of a better word, they raping GERS, as I heard the other day, 'cause they collecting two paycheck basically from the one retirement and then from the other one too. You understand when they're done? So that's sad. 'Cause once again, you can't take the money with you when you die. You understand?
And then
And
the
half
thing
the
is,
time, uh-huh.
the thing is, and not to cut you off, but they
Mm-hmm.
always say go to school,
Mm-hmm.
okay, to come back home.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you come back home, it's so difficult to find a
Exactly.
job.
Exactly.
It's not easy.
No, 'cause now that you mention it, they actually were programs back in the days that was focusing on that. You understand?
Mhm.
From beginning with how I ain't gonna lie, I came up in the I went to private school up until eighth grade, and I went to public school from ninth grade until I graduated. Shout out to Mali. And I work every summer. I work a summer job, painting the schools and doing different things and so forth. I'm not even sure if they have done. I think I did hear that they have it and they have allocated a good amount of money for that this year for the children and so forth. But they did go on. They used to keep you on a list that even after you graduated from high school, they used to keep track of you when you went away and possibly, okay, you should have graduated by now. You know what I mean? And they would reach out to you and find out, hey, have you graduated? Are you interested in coming back? Or we have this, and so, you know what I mean? What did you go to school for and so forth? You know what I'm saying? And it would be good to start up something similar to that. Again, resume a program like that that's headed up by the government that would follow the path, so to say, of the students when they go away. And by the time they graduate, offer and have something that would be within their niche, you know what I'm saying? That they're interested in and that they could do, and have them get a job in that field. But we don't have that anymore. So I think, once again, as I say, I think we feel in the students at the Virgin Islands where there's not much to come back for. Like most people, me myself included, I end up staying in Georgia 10 years after I graduated. I came back at
Wow.
10 years after I graduated. So,
And you see, I feel like both Gail and I, we
mhm,
followed the suggestion
mhm,
of going on and getting education and then returning to
mhm,
the territory. We both did it.
yeah.
Um, and um, I absolutely enjoyed being back in
Mhm.
the Virgin Islands, working on St. John,
Okay.
working at the school, the same school that she said is closed, Guy Benjamin School, as a teacher. So it
Mhm.
was full circle for me.
Oh
Um,
wow.
but but um, so you do full circle, but
Mhm.
then you come back and you have a job that, and when I left there in 2000, I was making $21,000 as a
Oh
teacher.
wow. Mhm.
And I even had a parent that was a Vitran bus driver that um, had shared that they make more money than me.
Wow.
So, and it was true.
Mhm. Mhm.
So you have to now account for, you have people like myself and Gail. Gail could tell you her story, um,
Mhm.
that have come back home.
Mhm.
You're not even giving them a wage that is, they could even go out and get their own apartment,
Mhm.
to get their pay for a car. Um, so what are you offering, and then
Exactly.
certainly yeah, what then, and when I left, I decided to leave because I just could not see how this was going to work.
Mhm.
I was At that time I was working with the US Census, because that was 2000,
Mhm.
as well as I was working with the Beacon School after school program. So I had three jobs in that year to make
Wow.
money so that I could leave. But I'm saying all that to say that you have
Mhm.
some that do come home and they
Mhm.
do want to be a part of the community and the society, but you
Mhm.
have to do better with the salary.
Correct. Definitely.
Mhm.
Because in '98, I didn't finish college yet, and I had a job at the Coca-Cola company, the Get Coke hotline, the 1-800 number, and our Coke products, making $16 an hour. So that's 32 a
You are
year.
making more
32 a
than
year in '98. You
yes.
understand? That's in '98. So imagine you telling me to come back to a job that's paying me 20 or lower.
Mhm.
So we have to do
I
better.
always tell people I was a bona fide scrub. I lived in my mama's house.
Yeah, yeah.
And Gail, you have your
Yeah.
story.
I mean, my story was, I'm more, I guess what you would call it, more of the success
Mhm,
story, but it still had limitations. So
mhm,
I came back after finishing my master's degree. And I was applying to jobs in government because my
Mhm.
degree was in public administration.
Okay.
And of course, the ideal job to get is a government
Mhm.
job,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And I was being told left and right that I wasn't qualified for entry level positions,
Yeah. Wow.
not even, because I didn't expect to be a manager,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
coming right out of college, because I
Mhm.
went from one degree to the next degree. I
Yeah.
didn't have
Yeah.
any work
Mhm.
experience per
Mhm.
se, but I expected to at least get a position that would pay me in the 30s, maybe. This
Mhm.
was in 2002, Gary, or 2004.
I
Oh
think,
gosh,
yes.
I think
2004.
it was 2004 or
Mhm.
2002. So needless to say, I ended up working with a nonprofit.
Mhm.
So I started there and I worked there, I think, for 4 or 5 years.
Mhm.
And then I was able to segue into the VI government, and I actually used my degree to its full potential. I was a director of a health prevention program,
Okay.
immunization to be exact. So I was a territorial director, and I did that for actually 8 years. Um, and I didn't get a raise not once in that eight
Wow.
year period. And later on, I found out that I was one of the lowest
Ooh.
paid directors within the department.
Wow.
Because when they published all your salaries and
Mhm.
everybody run
Yeah.
to the newspaper to say who's getting paid
Yeah.
what.
Yeah.
So I realized it was two directors who were getting paid comparably the same, and she actually was there longer than I was.
Mhm.
Um, so I, of course, at this juncture, I'm like, wait a minute now, I'm performing very well in my role. I
Mhm.
deserve a raise.
Mhm.
So I lobbied and did my justification letter.
Mhm.
It was a federally funded program, so the
Mhm.
local government was not going to have to pay the
Yeah.
salary.
Correct.
The feds basically said they were willing to,
Mhm.
fund the salary. And sent it to my upper ups, my superiors, and they ignored me.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't even get a response.
Mhm.
And I said, you know what? I'm not gonna fight my people anymore with this,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, that was just one area, I wasn't, fulfilled in my career as far as my pay.
Mhm.
But I actually enjoyed what I was doing. But
Mhm.
then there's other things that were unattainable even at that salary. And I'm not ashamed to say I was getting paid $55,000 a year.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Whereas the other directors, they were getting paid in the 70s.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a huge that's a
Yeah.
huge
Exactly.
difference.
Exactly.
So any which way, after not being able to, I entered into the VIHFA program, the first time home buyers program. I was trying to see how I could get, a home.
Mhm.
And they were like, you need to make more money. You ain't making enough money to
Wow.
qualify for this mortgage.
Wow.
And I was like, why making 55? She said, yeah, but you don't qualify. You see,
Wow.
mostly everybody who was in that program, they
Mhm.
were married couples. So,
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
they probably were making maybe dual, even if they
Double that
weren't,
figures at
yes,
least. Yeah.
75,
Mhm.
70,000.
Mhm.
But so if I was paid on step, I probably would
Mhm.
have
Yeah.
qualified for
Correct.
the mortgage,
Mhm.
but I wasn't. So I said, you know what? Time to go.
Mhm.
I feel you, man.
Yeah.
But once again, yeah, that is an area in which we could step up and make sure we have jobs for people who do want to come back, and then make sure we pay them what they do deserve to get paid as well. I'll go ahead and just segue into talking about WAPA. I don't know if you have to hear my neighbor generator is actually currently running in the background, but I'm using the mic on my computer, so I don't think it'll pick up that well. Because the power been gone since I think 3 o'clock. Yeah,
Wow.
it's now 7. Yeah. So, yep, WAPA doing this thing once again, man. So I don't know if
Listen.
y'all want to share with the public the issues that y'all been dealing with, and what was it, 7 days? How many years it was a couple weeks ago when the power went out?
Well, in St. John, we had that. How many hours? I think
90.
it was 70. No, it was like 3 days.
It was 3 days.
No, it was like 3 days. And
Okay.
prior to that, there was a power outage for 24 hours.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but the 3 day one was the most
Mhm.
recent.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that has been a nightmare.
Mhm.
And just so let me clarify, Gary and I,
Mhm.
we don't live in the Virgin Islands, but we have
Right.
a business in the Virgin Islands.
Mhm.
And our business is short-term renting.
Mhm.
So we have a short-term rental, and we had guests, and we don't have a backup energy source at this time.
Mhm.
So that's a direct, that directly affects our business, of
Correct.
course. But beyond business people who live there, we have family, we have friends who are impacted tremendously by these power outages just for the
Mhm.
day-to-day needs. I don't think people realize it's not just you don't have light.
Mhm.
Not having power could interrupt your water source if you don't have a cistern
Mhm.
that you could pull water from it
Correct.
manually. If you don't have the backup power for your pump, you can't pump the water out of the cistern.
Mhm.
Then you have people who have healthcare needs that require the power to run their oxygen tank, their
Mhm.
CPAP. So
Wow.
then the food loss. I
Yep.
mean, I
Yep.
spoke to
Yep.
so many people who told me they
Mhm.
had to
Mhm.
fling everything out of their refrigerator and freezer
Wow. Wow.
because they had just shopped the day before. I'm
Mhm.
like, and
That's
then when you have to hear WAPA's position that they're refunding nothing,
exactly.
they ain't giving you anything, just pay your bill and deal with it and stop complaining.
Yeah.
That's infuriating.
Mhm. Yeah. It is. It is.
So, I could go on and on and on. So you have to stop me.
Gary, you have anything to share?
Um, I just think that um, I feel that so this is where the Sinjan part does come in. I
Mhm.
feel that it would be interesting to see how this would have what the response would have been from leadership if this was a 3 day stint in St. Thomas or St. Croix.
Mhm.
It would be interesting to see what the response would be. Um, and I just feel like sometimes St. John gets treated out certain way because
Mhm.
they're not going to do too much rah-rah.
Mhm.
So
And there was a delayed response. I mean, people have to acknowledge that
Mhm.
during that 3 day power outage, I remember the night it happened
Mhm.
because I was like, because I have a manager there, and I
Right.
texted her, I was like, "Did you get an alert?" Because we focus on the alerts when it's happening,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and there was no alert. There was no alert from WAPA for until the next morning.
Mhm.
So from 6, I think, p.m. at night up to like the next morning, it's like you
Mhm.
didn't know what was happening.
Wow.
And then subsequent days later, there was no statement. The
Wow.
CEO never came out and said
Yeah. Yeah.
anything. The legislature was quiet. The governor was golfing in St. Croix. So
Mhm.
it was like, wait a minute. So nobody has anything to say?
Mhm. Mhm.
me,
Now, fast forward, St. Thomas was always a power outages, but in kind of like pockets of places,
not no three
Right.
but
days.
not no district
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
wide.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
no district wide.
Hmm.
But now, fast forward a couple weeks later, you're getting a district wide outages. Oh no,
Mhm.
everybody has something to say.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
You
That's
know?
crazy. That's very disheartening too, man. And I say we in 2026, also in
Mm-hmm.
2027, and we still dealing with this stuff. So my one thing that I was thinking, like, we are one out of many islands in the Caribbean. Isn't there like a fellow island that we could go to and see what they have done to, you know what I mean, alleviate their woes and so forth? I'm pretty sure at least one out of all the islands had a similar or have a similar generator to what we have been using, you understand? And then find out like what are they using and what's working for them and what has helped them in the past come from probably having frequent power outages where we are right now to almost no power outages. So,
So, I mean, we are very connected,
mhm,
so I don't think that our officials could even say that they're unaware or I just think there's no desire to
mhm,
do anything.
wow.
And they need to prove me wrong, but
Yeah.
even with the press conferences that we've been hearing, there's not much focus on finding the solutions to not being reliable or relying on the fossil fuel
Mhm, mhm.
turbines
Correct, correct.
generation system that we have.
Mhm.
Yes, they have the solar farms and they
Yeah.
implemented that in St. Croix.
Mhm,
They're building back the one on St. John. I mean, sorry, St. Thomas.
mhm.
St. John wasn't even in that equation. I mean, they say
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
have plans for it,
Oh yeah.
but in the
That's
future.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
this,
yeah.
not the solar farm, but
Mhm,
renewable energy options. They haven't defined what that looks like for St. John. I
mhm.
haven't heard, and if they have, I haven't heard it.
Okay.
So
You
I
haven't
think
heard it because there's none.
Makes sense.
You haven't heard it because there's none. They would.
Yeah.
So we just have to be. And Gail and I we're going to be very diplomatic, but there's some
Mhm.
things you just have to be what
Yeah,
it is. There's
exactly,
none,
exactly.
and it's we're always an afterthought or not included. So
Mhm,
if we
mhm,
don't say that's not going to work, we don't like it.
mhm.
No, 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 no. So you have that you did solar farms that both St. Croix and St. Thomas have experienced. So what about St. John?
Exactly, exactly.
And I would think that we would have been the pilot for that because,
That's exactly
again,
what I was going to say.
we're a more
With a smaller
manageable.
island, you have the least load capacity.
Load.
You understand? So be the pilot for a nice little solar farm that could run the whole island in case something like what happened. See, I'm in IT, so I'm big on backup, and having a backup for the backup. You understand?
Mhm.
Because the other day, T-Mobile, Liberty, and Broadband VI were all down.
Yeah.
Thanks to me, the way I think and how I move, I had the bank include a tertiary backup, which was Starlink. You understand? So, unlike years past where they would have to shut down the branch, you understand? They were able to go uninterrupted because they had the Starlink, which was the backup for the backup. You understand? And we
Forward
were
thinking.
Yeah,
sailing
I was
exactly.
just about to say. So you are the type of talent
Mm-hmm.
or person with knowledge, skills, and abilities that are needed in many, many areas
Mm-hmm.
in the U.S. Virgin Islands government because
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah,
were thinking backup, backup, backup.
exactly, exactly.
You know? Yeah.
These are the kind of things we do need. You understand?
Mhm, mhm.
So there as I said, there were no complaints around that time. Even I was glad that it was in stock. I couldn't use my phone because I'm on T-Mobile for my cell phone, and I could even use. I have a hotspot with Liberty that wasn't working either. So my backups were done, and so I was able to rely on the satellite internet through Starlink and so forth.
And
So
then when you have know that there's evidence of them saying that there was money's identified to have backup batteries and backup battery and stuff for St. John from in 2019, you could actually see the article that's saying it,
yeah, correct. I
and
heard
there's
that.
no true response for so what happened to this,
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
and for leaders to not even want to address it. And I mean, come on now, you have to sometimes be accountable for your lack
Hmm.
of following through.
Hmm.
Why is Saint John reliant on being connected to Saint Thomas to supply?
Exactly.
Like that's so ridiculous, and it's
Hmm.
not a 21st century idea.
Hmm.
Yeah, because we had our own power source before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we had our own power
Okay.
source
I
before,
didn't
and
even know
they abandoned that
that.
and came up with this brilliant idea to connect us to St. Thomas instead of
Hmm.
rebuilding that plant.
Wow. Well,
Um,
that's
so
interesting.
e- yeah, so even today, the plans that they have for St. John, again,
Hmm.
he's supposed to be giving us a update with a new plan by
Hmm.
April 8th, Mr. Knight.
Hmm.
Um, but before he gives this plan, he has said that the plan for Sinjan
Mm-hmm.
is to have an emergency generation. I don't know what that is,
Hmm.
um, but it doesn't sound like it's a standalone for us. It
Yeah.
sounds like it's still something that's going to be used as a backup,
Yeah. Correct.
so
Correct.
that when it falters, that connection between St. Thomas and St. John goes down, we
Mm-hmm.
would have power.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. But as I say, the way I think, I'd have already been like, because in a lot of companies I work for in technology and so forth, they always have what they call like a R&D department, research and development, and they're years ahead in terms of planning. You can't expect, especially if you're running a power company, you can't expect to be running the same way all the time. In technology, when I was going to school, we learned that technology changes over like every 9 months. You understand? No,
Ah.
it's even faster than that. Now it's like every 6 months there's
Mm-hmm.
a new this and a new that and so forth, and you know it because we are already getting updates almost every every week on our phones and stuff like that. You understand?
Absolutely.
There's a
Hmm.
new update, and in the same way, when you're dealing with technology, because a power plant is technology, you have to plan ahead for these kind of things. And I believe that WAPA should have been planning ahead a long time ago for what we would do if this happened, what we would do if this happened, what we would do if this happened, and so forth. And they should have already at this point in the game, at this late stage, St. John should have already been on their own
Absolutely.
power supply, and the only time they tap in, unfortunately, would be for an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? When that
Yeah.
broke down, then they tap into to St. Thomas.
Yes.
Yeah. But and you mentioned something about like us looking at other islands.
Hmm.
This is a Google search. You know,
Exactly.
I was in this group. We're planning things.
Hmm.
I won't say, but we're planning things as it relates to WAPA.
Yeah.
But and they mentioned in the group that Anegada has microgrids,
Oh
um,
wow.
and they have
Hmm.
actually reduced their reliance on
Yeah.
the same fossil fuel
Hmm.
by
Hmm.
90%.
Hmm. Hmm.
So Anegada has 450 people. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay, so St. John has 4,000
Hmm.
something, right? So, and comparably inside, I think they're 15 square miles and I think we're like 19.
Hmm.
So I just there are other islands doing things that are finding solution. I also Googled Dominica.
Hmm.
Dominica has I think it's called geotherm or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. Because they have the volcanoes over there and the hot water springs and so forth. The hot springs. Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
And they just opened their plant like a couple weeks ago, and they
Hmm.
say it's
Hmm.
functioning very well.
Yeah, yeah,
And they had the specifics of how many watts of whatever
yeah.
they're creating with this new plant.
Hmm.
So other islands that historically is known to have a lot less
Correct.
than what the U.S. Virgin Islands has,
Hmm.
they are finding other solutions instead
Hmm.
of continuing down this black hole of the fossil fuel as an energy source. It's
Hmm.
getting higher and higher. It's costing more. We always
Exactly.
say we don't have no money. So
Hmm.
why are we still going in that direction?
Exactly. Exactly.
Mhm. And then even they seem like they have a challenge with um uh, billing
Yeah.
appropriately, having ability to read meters. I guess they don't have the human resources. I mean, I just don't understand how an organization could be failing the report card when
F.
you just go down.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Failure, 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 failure. And
Hmm.
I just don't really think that come on now. There has to be somewhere that you could make an A plus.
Exactly.
And you hear what you just said? That's my thing with WAPA. The areas that they can fix, they're not addressing.
Hmm.
The CEO mentioned that he bought a whole bunch of meters, right?
Hmm.
That he wants to change all the meters because they're not working right.
Correct.
And he wants new meters that will allow them to do remote reading.
Hmm.
Okay. But he said he's not doing that implementation right now. He's gonna
Hmm.
wait until I think June or something. And I'm
Hmm.
like, do that now. So at
Hmm.
least, you could fix that problem. At least to
Hmm.
have
The
accurate
meter,
meters that you don't
exactly.
have to hire all these meter readers. You could do it
Exactly.
remotely.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the issue with the not having adequate staffing for meter readers. So, okay, you're going to kick the can down the road to install the
Mm-hmm.
new meters. Hire a team of meter readers to do a
The
speed, like a
installation.
project, like a install, like a speedy
Yeah,
install
exactly.
or
Yep.
reading of all these meters so that
Mm-hmm.
at least people have an accurate reading
Correct. Correct.
because they are billing people off
Mm,
of faulty information and then they
correct. Correct.
estimating these bills, and I'm talking about it because it's personally affecting me.
Mm-hmm.
They're estimating these bills at a higher amount of consumption that they can't even
Mm-hmm.
prove that that's what you're
Exactly.
consuming because they're not reading your meters.
Yeah. 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 That's sad, man.
And then you better pay, else you're gonna get disconnected.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Like what? We getting knocked from press to desk.
Yeah. 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 And that is crazy, man. That is crazy. But as I can say that the the suggestion that I would give definitely would be solar and another possibility because I heard somebody give the suggestion for like turbines under the water, but then they were complaining, oh, it's going to kill the fish. When it comes to wind turbines, oh, it's going to kill the birds. You understand? But there's actually another solution called because I think when y'all were on the live last time, I don't think I'll get to mention it, but there some I don't know how to say it. It's not turbines, but it's like blades that look like wings of a plane that sit on top of the water and they go up and down every time the wave passes. You can't tell me a fish gonna die for that. You understand?
Mhm.
Um, so basically, those are less invasive, and you could just sit them. You anchor them in the water, and they go as the waves pass. They go up and down, up and down, and that up and down movement actually generates electricity. So there's so many things. That's what I'm saying. I'm just a
Yes,
lay person sitting on there
absolutely.
who's not even into electricity like that. The only reason I'm as far as I am in now because of WAPA and then nonsense that I'm accustomed living in a place where my power never goes. So I want to have it the same way down here, which I have achieved finally now. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm fully on solar 100% as of a couple of days ago. I was waiting for a big thick cable to come.
Mm-hmm.
Big thick cable to come and it came in and I hooked that bad boy up and now I don't have to worry about any of these. I was waiting for them tonight, so to go out. So
Yes.
around 4 o'clock I was on the phone with my friend and I heard the neighbor generator kicking. I was like, power gone.
And that's a lot of people who have, of course, the know-how, the skill set,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
the resources to find other solutions or
Hmm.
backup. They're
Hmm.
doing it. Like Gary
Yep.
and I are right now in the process of getting
Yeah.
that done. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, so I know because a lot of people are online and having just things to say about other people.
Hmm.
Just get a generator, just get. But
Hmm.
these things are very costly.
Yeah,
I don't
correct.
think we will realize how much these things cost. Like I had
Hmm.
gotten quotes in the past for solar, and it was like 40 something, almost $50,000.
Wow.
And most of the companies that provide solar,
Hmm.
established companies,
Hmm.
they do not finance. I
Oh,
think there's
wow.
only one
Yeah.
that actually does financing.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, if you ain't willing to, go into a 20-year agreement, or I don't even know how long the agreements are now,
Hmm.
and pay double, so that's like almost maybe $100,000 you'll be paying for the system if you
Yeah,
finance
yeah, yeah.
for 20
Wow.
to 30 years.
Yep. That's like a
Talking
house
about,
mortgage. That's crazy.
and then the generator, of course, if you
Yep.
could get a smaller generator that you
Hmm.
may know how to troubleshoot, you could
Yeah,
probably
yeah,
get
yeah.
something that's more economical.
Hmm.
But if you get a larger generator, that's like
Hmm.
25 G's.
Yeah. Yep.
And $125 a month in maintenance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Guys, basically an engine. You need to change your oil,
Yes.
you need to change filter, you need to do
So and
all
diesel. So these there haves and there have nots, and I do
that.
think
Hmm.
that we have to be sensitive to the have nots
Hmm.
um, when you're a have. And to be frank, I think haves need to hush. I think haves need to stay out of the conversation and
Hmm.
stop inputting themselves in a negative way towards people that have nots that are complaining. Because if you're a have and you already have found a solution, why are you speaking negatively about a have not that is complaining? If you have your solution,
Exactly.
go off in a distance and enjoy your solution.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. True. So I think that's what I'm saying. The American or the Americanization sometimes is not a good thing for us because as you're stating that I think some of it has caused us to become a little bit disconnected. In terms of the same thing as Gail was mentioning, it wasn't until St. Thomas started feeling it, then everybody were up in arms, like, oh God, we ain't got no power. And then they were looking to St. John, finding out St. John they had power for 2 days before that. You understand? It's
Yeah.
only now we Johnny come lately joined the bunch. And
And
that's
that,
what so
and,
we have to become
yeah.
more of a community again and learn to bear each other's burdens. You know what I mean? It could be today for you, you know what I mean? And then later tomorrow for me. And
And
we
guess
sometimes
what?
don't realize that.
And guess what, Marcus? You see how you just said that?
Mm-hmm.
What that's what I said. And what would that have looked like if it was St. Croix,
Exactly. Yeah.
who definitely
They'll
are
make you.
very comfortable expressing themselves?
Yeah. They'll make you
So, you
nice.
know, yeah. So St. Johnians led rebellions way before there was a Queen Mary. So
Exactly.
we
Yeah.
need to get that fire back in us and show
Mm-hmm.
that we started it. Let's
Yeah.
be
Exactly.
the history doesn't lie and it
Yeah.
doesn't change.
Correct. Correct.
We just don't have it being taught on any high level in our schools.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was, and that's why I've been doing a couple of videos about history, people, famous and well-known people in VI history lately, because I think it has a place, especially in today's society and so forth, where if I think it was Malcolm X who said, you know what I mean, if we don't know where we come from, then we're doomed to repeat the past. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So we
Mm-hmm.
have to study and learn about the past to make sure we make moves and even have the how to say get the same gusto as our ancestors and so forth did have in order to make moves and so forth, man. Because
Absolutely.
and then we have to each. I always believe this, and I'm not. I hate that crab in a barrel kind of mentality. I believe if I coming up, you coming up too. You understand? If you use my neighbor, as I say, my neighbor, I hate it because if that power stays off all night, the generator making noise in my head. Even though I don't have generator, I have power, but the generator making noise in my head. So I just spoke to got the number for my neighbor the other day because I saw her, and I'm gonna talk to her same thing about getting possibly solar too. And I'd
Mm-hmm.
like to even probably show it on it because they have a lot of people. I learned from watching YouTube videos. There are a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people even stateside who are off grid now. They're no longer because even in some places in the states, the power is exorbitant like us. It's not as high as us because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we're the second highest in the country behind Hawaii or something like that. Hawaii might be 3 or 5 cents more than us in terms of kilowatt per kilowatt hour. But all that stuff I learned by watching videos and so forth. And I like to show people also, because I build my stuff from scratch. I started with a little $300 system, and then I added as the money came. Because as
Mm-hmm.
Gail said, those equipment, especially the batteries, are very expensive and so
Mm-hmm.
forth. So everybody could possibly do what I did. You know what I mean? Put a little bit, and before you know it, you'll have a good system, and you don't have to worry about. That's one less headache, I could say, that you would have and so forth.
Yeah, I honestly think people who can do, they will do. I think,
Exactly.
especially if it continues like this, I
Mm-hmm.
think you'll be forced into that.
Mm-hmm.
But I just really think about the people who can't, and they are going to suffer. Um, and that's the part that worries me.
Mm-hmm.
And I encourage them to continue to complain. And if
Mm-hmm.
you are concerned about haves saying that you shouldn't complain, you need to let go of that because while they are enjoying being a have, you are enjoying being you are not enjoying being a have not. So the way to get your message across is to complain.
Hmm.
Correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was saying that they say that they say they had more people out protesting the No Kings thing than protesting WAPA body, which is ridiculous. What
Yeah.
protesting somebody who don't even live here gonna do for us? but we have issues right here in our own territory that we're not even protesting. It's ridiculous. And then we have become too comfortable too. Because then people back in the days when they were protesting civil rights and so forth, you understand? Like the Montgomery bus
Yeah.
boycott. That wasn't no 1, no 2, no 1 month, no 2 month, no 3 month. That was
It was
like a whole 7, 8, 9 months, before they
Yeah.
finally broke the city.
and
And I don't think
organized.
we don't have that resilience nowadays. People not willing to take a day off of work to go down and protest. You know what I mean?
Nope.
No, I gotta be somebody were asking to do a protest beginning like 7 in the morning, you know what I'm saying? And then you could probably go to work for 8 or 9. They didn't even want to do that. Nobody.
Listen, they'll take a day off to go to the village.
I know, right?
So I agree with you. I think that
Mhm.
our priorities are all messed up. And I
Mhm.
also feel like I think our resilience works against us too, because we know what devastation looks like and what it feels like in
Mhm.
the territory.
Correct.
We have experienced not having power for months
Mhm.
Mhm.
after devastation. So I think that even though these disruptions are annoying and it's hurting other people as well, but it's more of an annoyance,
Mhm.
we are built to actually survive months without power.
Yeah, correct. Correct.
Okay?
Mhm.
So nobody's not going to show up for no protests for what's happening now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, I think
Interesting.
if they go months without power,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're gonna be sleeping down there.
Yeah.
They'll be sleeping down there in subways by WAPA.
Yeah.
yeah,
And especially if they can't get, so at home they're challenged, but let's say businesses are now that aren't necessarily able to keep up with the cost of having their generators, and let's say they
Mhm.
apply those costs to now you the consumer, so it's a
Mhm.
ripple effect. I just feel
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
saying, oh, the residents aren't with power and they need to be quiet and stop complaining. This is
Mhm.
a ripple effect, and it's going to, you
Exactly.
really believe that a
Mhm.
place that is relying on tourism to bring in revenue, you
Mhm.
really believe after this message has been sent out
Mhm.
into out,
Mhm.
and that the US Virgin Islands is a place that is challenged with having electricity, you think people
Mhm.
going to make the option to come there?
Exactly. Not at all.
no.
And it's sad because I did hear somebody saying on their way out, standing in the line, the long line for to go to TSA and so forth. They heard a tourist saying that, man, like 3 out of the 5 nights they were here, they lost power.
Mhm.
So once again, as you said, if that word start getting out, which it will,
And it is.
choose another location versus us, because they're gonna be like, no, I heard they're having power outage problems down there. So we're
And
not
it's,
gonna.
it's happening real time right now. Like I
Exactly.
follow a lot of the travel
Hmm.
groups on
Hmm. Hmm.
Facebook, and the tourists are asking like, so
Yep.
is it
That's
still
correct.
out of power, or we had to change? Somebody put that they actually changed their reservation from the U.S. Virgin Islands to the British Virgin Islands,
Wow.
because they just don't want to have that experience on their
Exactly.
vacation.
Hmm.
So it's happening.
Mhm.
Exactly.
You know, Gary and I, we made a decision to just close the house,
Wow.
because until
Yeah.
we have a backup power solution, we don't want to
Mhm.
have to deal with one of our guests staying there and not having the
Exactly.
conveniences of
Mhm.
electricity,
And then having to refund them after you don't get the money and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I hate. I hate giving back
which
money.
is happening. I had to do
Yeah.
that. I had to
Yeah.
refund some
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
money, and it's
Hmm.
just not a place that anybody wants to be in.
No,
Exactly.
and I guess for me, what troubles me is when individuals are saying that you shouldn't complain and you should just get an alternative, which is not. It's not like the alternative is inexpensive.
Hmm.
But my thing is, so why should you? Are you trying to suggest that in 2026, in a
Hmm.
first world country, that is acceptable and you should not have any qualms about the fact that
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
don't have sustainable um energy source?
Exactly.
Like, so this is what we're really saying that we're supposed to be accepting?
Hmm. That's sad.
Yeah. And it's even worse that the leaders who are in place to serve us, when you hear them speak, it's like you don't have no faith that they gonna do anything to change it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get these empty promises. I mean, the governor was blatantly saying he'll have it fixed by the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why are you lying to people?
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
he throw WAPA under the bus and saying he don't know why WAPA ain't telling you all the truth. What is going on here? This looks like the whole system is imploding to me.
Yeah, yeah. I believe so. And that's sad once again, though.
Yeah.
And
Well,
to
yeah.
suggest that you, I mean, I don't even want to talk about the governor, but I mean, sometimes you is there even any empathy there? I mean, not I don't even want to say sympathy because you don't have to be sad for anyone, but empathy, and to suggest that you have a $5,000, I mean, a 5,000
Watt or
watt,
something.
uh,
Kilowatt.
yeah, generator.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you had this before you were the governor. And, I mean, you are the governor. Your challenges are nothing like a person that is making a non-livable wage.
Exactly.
You can't afford to put $100 towards a generator. So
Mm-hmm.
just like don't even try to make that comparison.
Exactly. So
You
we need leaders who have empathy, man, who could empathize with the public and be like, yo, I feel it. And
know?
even, you know what I'm saying? I've known people who are very humble who would say, man, until you going through this, stop going through the situation, I wouldn't even run my generators just so I could be on the same level with you guys and stuff like that. You understand?
There you go. That we start at a place of empathy, and
Mm-hmm.
it, they need to go to and learn about best practices as leaders.
Exactly. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, because they definitely don't understand that. I mean, all this traveling that's still taking place, like he just
Mm-hmm.
traveled to get honored in New York. This is
Yeah.
not the
Yeah.
time for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Like
Nope.
this does that make people feel like you are with them?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Exactly.
Then we seen somebody else at Sea Trade, and I'm like, we should not be celebrating anything right now when we can't keep
Mhm.
the lights on in the
Exactly.
territory.
Exactly.
In
I
20,
just
and I mean, we could even go back and find statements being made. I think what Cyril Lee King was even having a discussion back in the day about WAPA and the challenges of
Yeah, I saw
WAPA.
that there was an article in the Daily News
Yeah,
in the
so
70s.
this is ongoing, and the three of us here,
Mm-hmm.
we know good and well. We learned the acronym WAPA from the time we
Hmm.
could learn how to speak,
Exactly.
because it was always a part of any adult's complaint.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not new.
Yep.
yeah. So and people call what we're doing right now complaining. I just letting you all know. This is complaining. This is not
That's a
helping
psychological trick.
anything.
That's a psychological trick to make you shut up.
Yeah, and it so doesn't work. You will
Yeah.
try to shame me into
Mm-hmm.
not expressing how I feel.
Exactly.
Okay, good luck.
But there's advocacy. There's some people who are actually, I know I'm one of them,
Mm-hmm.
advocating in other ways behind the scene
Mm-hmm.
to get some level of accountability or response from the leaders.
Correct. Correct.
But I think when there's strength in numbers, and if you don't have thousands of people doing these things at the same time, they're just
Mm-hmm.
gonna do what they always do. They're gonna ignore
Yeah. Correct.
the few agitators, like
Mm-hmm.
he ignored, he even mentioned an agitator in his press conference,
Yeah.
it's like,
Mhm.
oh, this lady from Sinjan keep emailing me, and it wasn't me, by the way, but this lady from Sinjan keep emailing me, and I hope she don't think I'm gonna respond, like,
Like,
Wow.
is that what the leader is going to say?
Exactly. Yeah,
I
man.
mean,
You showing you don't care. You just care about yourself at this point. And that's not leadership qualities at all. I'm sorry.
No.
I
And
couldn't.
you
no.
a tone of disgust, and
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
the tone was just so wrong.
yeah.
So no, I don't care. I know you could talk and you're very articulate. I am too, but
Mm-hmm.
you also should show that you have some empathy,
Mm-hmm.
and I just don't like the approach to me is just like these people are of no value, and
Mm-hmm.
in particular, St. Juniors need to note what is happening and
Mm-hmm.
don't let people that are haves
Mm-hmm.
say to you that you should not complain about a
Exactly.
3-day outage that you cannot afford to change. Because if you could afford to do it, you would have done it and you wouldn't have anything to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Once again, man, how we go for change? And they say it's an election year.
Well, a lot of people who vote in, they are not for it. Like I've heard so many people
Mm-hmm.
say like they're gonna chase them from in front of them, and I
Yeah.
mean I don't think that's the answer per se. I just think
Mm-hmm.
we need to choose better
Yeah,
leaders.
correct.
And
Definitely.
once we elect them, we have to hold them accountable. Like
Mm-hmm.
to me, anytime we elect somebody and somebody comes out and give constructive criticism,
Mm-hmm.
it's people don't like it.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I don't know the governor personally. I don't know the
Mm-hmm.
CEO of WAPA personally. I don't know these
Mm-hmm.
people, but I'm seeing how they're leading, and I have
Exactly.
constructive criticism.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
You know, but everything is so personal in the Virgin
Yes.
Islands.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Absolutely. Like I guarantee you, you made a choice to reach out to a brother and a sister again from Sinjan that don't have a problem sharing their opinion. And I guarantee you, tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
Gail and I will see the negativity that is going to
Wow.
come from this. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to tell you, we could care less.
Facts. Facts all day.
Well, I'm gonna tell Gary put it right, but what
Mm-hmm.
I was just saying is that we're passionate about our positions,
Mm-hmm.
and I know for me, I
Mm-hmm.
am willing to share what I can,
Mm-hmm.
or contribute to efforts that will improve the Virgin Islands.
Correct. Correct.
Um, and even though again I'm afar, but I would help to coordinate things even there with people who are willing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that once I stay in that place of wanting to see improvement,
Mm-hmm.
that's where I'm going to stay.
Yeah.
Period. And I don't care if that means pointing out some people that, hey, you got to come up with what you're doing because this is not right. You
Yeah.
Mhm.
know,
Correct. Correct.
and it's not done in a disrespectful way. It's just you have to be direct and upfront with people. And I
Correct.
noticed in our community, we don't like that. We look at it as a personal attack.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. That's how I am too. So a lot of people, when I confront them with certain things, they feel a certain way. But no, I like God, let it out there and get it out there and be like, yo, this is what it is. You know what I mean? And change course, make some changes. You know what I'm saying? Because if you do that, it'll be better for you and
Ab-
people around you.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
you are willing to um, work with people, you have to be creative, to think out the box, to sacrifice. This is how a society works. But I just don't think that anybody should be saying it's acceptable to be living under the conditions, the energy crisis condition. And well, I guess we say it's not a crisis, but it, it's
It
it's
is a crisis. Once again, as I say, it's a psychological thing.
Mhm,
I don't
mhm.
know why they don't want. Because I did make a post the other day saying, like, what is Vitran doing in terms of we're at the beginning stages of an energy crisis. Somebody gonna comment and say, what energy crisis? I didn't even
Yeah,
respond to that thing. You
yeah,
because I know in a couple of months that same person gonna have to swallow their words. They might be
yeah,
the same person bawling at the gas station or whatever. I get my
yeah,
bike downstairs, I get ready to clean up and everything. Matter of fact, the old system that I have, I just got an idea. I'm like a little wizard, you know what I'm saying?
mhm,
I
mhm.
just got an idea that the old system that I was using, 'cause I got a new system that could run my whole house now, of taking it and see if somebody from over, and because they use a lot of golf carts over in Water Island, see if somebody could donate a golf cart to me and I just buy an electric motor and turn it into my little electric
Listen, I think, and if you do that, make
motor.
sure you get, if you do that, you make sure you get that drone to record you driving around.
Definitely, man. Of course, man.
Listen, Gary, I want to see him go up Black Point Hill. That's
That's
what
right.
I want to
That's
see.
what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
I was looking online at Amazon for some bikes, the electric bikes, and they get some nice new ones for like 5,000 the max that would actually get me up thing. But then I was like, that's too much money, man. I could just buy a motor for about $1,000. I already get a battery and I get to cut the inverter that would convert the power. I said, let me see what I could come up.
Yeah.
I had
But
a
but you,
start
but
again
you,
at golf cart and retrofitting it with an electric motor.
but you see what you saying? That person
Mhm.
can't see. You already seeing down like
Exactly.
the
That's how my
line.
brain works.
They can't see because they fill
Exactly.
up their car every
Exactly.
week or every two
Mm-hmm.
weeks, and they
Mm-hmm.
could afford it, but they don't see
Exactly.
the $10 per gallon
Exactly.
price.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, that they can't
Yep.
afford, and therefore their car
Mm-hmm.
have to stay put. They ain't
Exactly.
seeing it.
So that's what I was saying. It would be good if the government could get ahead of the bar game and get. Because what I was saying was, I watched a video. There's a girl I had to watch who do vlogs also. She's from Grenada, and she went to visit Barbados,
Mhm.
and had all these. I think almost all of their fleet, their buses for public transportation was electric vehicles with solar. And I was like, wow, that is so cool. I was like, if we could get ahead of the ball game and just get like 4 buses that instead of, because I know they're trying to get a ferry to go between St. Croix and St. John right now. I mean, St. Croix and St. Thomas right now, that could carry both the cars and the people. But
Hmm.
we could put on a back burner for now. Let's
Okay.
focus, get ahead of the ball game and get some electric buses so that when even people like me can't drive my car to go work, I could get on at least the Bodo bus and get to work every day. You understand? And then y'all gonna be. It's not to say y'all ain't gonna be making no money because everybody gonna need transportation at that point. Them
Mhm.
those buses will be full. Get ahead of the ball game. Everybody was asking where they gonna get the money for that. You could get money for that once again from the federal government. Uh, It's public transportation. It have to do with solar, number one. And then number two, you're gonna recoup that money easy when the doo hit the fan. You understand? 'Cause everybody gonna need, including me,
Mhm.
gonna need public transportation to get them around. So that
Mhm.
money, you know what I'm saying? That money could be recouped easy. Number two, it's solar. So they're saying where they gonna get the money to charge, where they gonna charge it. Hire me. You can hire me. I gonna set up little substations that gonna charge up the batteries during the day. When you come park up the bus in the night, it's charging. And it's charging off of the sun. You ain't got to pay for no electricity. You understand? And so once again, you making money. You ain't gonna lose, you're gonna recoup that money fast. But as the scriptures say, without a vision, the people perish. I have
Mhm.
no problem. I have no problem sharing the vision. All y'all gotta do is take it and run with it. It gonna benefit me in the end too someday. I know for sure.
Mhm. Mhm.
Listen, say no more, say less. You giving out free things
Ex-
that need to be patented ideas at this
ex-
point.
exactly.
I mean, but I don't understand. Like they don't have the vision and they don't have the
Mhm.
will as well. I
Mhm.
think they just want to continue doing things the old way,
Yep.
and until like it comes to a point where they have to make the change,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's when it's gonna happen. And then at that point, it's an emergency. Like it's you're out in a fire, and
Yeah.
then
Mhm.
you're making not the best decisions because you're rushing.
Yeah. Correct. Correct.
Mhm. And I think there's going to be lots of people that are going to
Mhm.
opt out of living in the territory,
Yep.
and they're going to make their choice, and take their chances elsewhere. And that's not necessarily what you want to see happen.
Mhm.
But people are going to try to do what they think is best for themselves. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Let me turn on. I have to turn on another light here real quick. I'm coming
Okay.
back.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, 'cause it was a little bit sunny. The sun was just going down when we started.
Yeah.
I think it's delayed a little bit. Let me see
So,
here.
so you wanted to talk about education and WAPA tonight?
Well, yeah, anything that's plaguing the VI, that's one of
Yeah,
the
yeah, 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 yeah.
I see you had public works as one of the items. What's going
Well, I
on
was
with
talking
public?
mainly about the roads, but I've seen
Oh,
them going around now and they patching up the roads and stuff like that lately.
Patching the roads.
Yeah,
Hmm.
they've been
oh,
patching.
yeah. See, that's another issue. Like not having proper drainage so that these roads don't have to require all this patching all the time.
Hmm.
And they got
Well,
money for roads. Like that's the thing.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I found out the other day it takes about a little over $1 million to patch, I think, a mile of road. Is that how it goes? But still,
really?
once again, this is federal funding. Majority of the roads on these islands are federal roads, like the main road on which I live right here. That's a federally funded road. But why don't we do it? Why we keep on patching? Just do over the whole thing. And there are problem areas that have been problem areas from since I was in high school, bro. Go over and completely redo that whole thing. Do a layer of concrete and everything like that. You understand?
Are
Like,
you off camera purposely?
huh?
You off camera purposely?
No, no, no.
You off camera.
We can't
Oh, the
see
camera
you.
turned to the side. Sorry.
Oh yeah,
I
because
didn't
we
even
can't
notice that.
see you.
Thanks for sharing that. Oh, I think the facial recognition was probably set up, and what it was doing when I got up, it probably tried to follow me.
But it didn't follow you back.
Yeah, it didn't follow me. But when it lost me, just lost me. That was
Yeah,
it.
I was like, he must be off camera purposely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. I know. I was like, I know y'all hearing me, but it's
Yeah,
like
you know, I mean, you're talking and everything. I was like, okay, maybe he's doing something, you know.
no, thanks for letting me know. I didn't even catch that. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that is an issue with I noticed about the VI government, and this is just from my experience
Mm-hmm.
when I was working there. They
Mm-hmm.
love federal funds because I
Oh
mean, who
yeah.
doesn't? Like it's
Yeah. Yeah.
money that is allocated, and the local government doesn't have to find much and get a
Mm-hmm.
whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever those federal funds are not available, we don't like to take our own money to do anything. Like
Oh yeah.
if that money is not federally funded, it's not that
Yeah.
program
Yeah.
is not federally funded, they
Yeah.
will drop it.
Yeah. It goes
Period.
down
Mhm.
like a hot cake.
And that's very weird. You know, why
Mm-hmm.
we don't want to invest in ourselves. It's
Mm-hmm.
just why are we waiting for outside to
Mm-hmm.
do? And then when we get it, we don't even want to apply it and use it for what it's for.
Yeah. Yeah. Correct.
Very weird. And I mean, this is another subject, but we also don't like to hold our um scam artists leaders accountable for their
Yeah.
choices of greed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we wait for now federal to decide that this is a problem. We don't locally hold them accountable.
Exactly.
And
So
people should
that speaks
sorry.
to us. That speaks to us.
Yeah.
People should be really wary of what they're seeing because there's no local investigation as it relates to all these people who going to jail. Like this is
Mm-hmm.
all federal.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we saying locally? We're not paying
Exactly.
attention to these scammers.
Yeah. It's sad because they have a situation. That's a separate thing, but I don't know if you all saw the post about a local leader, church leader, getting in trouble the other day, right?
Yes.
It did come up about a year ago, but it got thrown out for lack of evidence or whatever. But the federal government picked it up, and you're not getting away this time. You
And,
understand? And
and
it's a shame that, as you were
yes,
saying, that everything locally is because you got big name. You know what I mean? You're gonna get.
yes.
But trust me, when the feds get a hold of your backside.
Yes. And so what happens is
Mhm.
oftentimes these people seem like they are victorious and they're winning, doing
Yeah.
their bad
Uh-huh.
until now the federal government gets wind of it. But
Hmm.
we
Hmm.
also have a local judicial system that
Hmm.
should be able to handle that situation and not turn like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
That's Marcus Blyden.
Yeah,
His
yeah,
father
yeah,
was this, his mother was this, and this.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
We tend to do that, and that's not right.
Unfortunately, yeah, unfortunately.
And when you read some of these crimes, right, to see
Mm-hmm.
what these people doing, I mean, to me, there's it's not just they themselves
Mm-hmm.
that should be held accountable. It
Mm-hmm.
had to be other people who made
Yeah,
this happen for them.
correct.
Like
I feel
this
so.
guy who with the school, he got storage contract to store lumber
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
for, you know, he was using the Department of Education land
yeah, exactly.
to store the lumber and then billing all these millions of dollars, up
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
$4.1 million to
Mm-hmm.
provide storage. You can't tell me that it
Mm-hmm.
was just he was the one person who was able to get this done.
Exactly.
Trust me, I worked in government.
Uh-huh.
When you put in a request,
Mm-hmm.
you know how much justification you have to send
Exactly, exactly.
to get that money. Gary, you
Mm-hmm.
have done business with the VI government too. How long it take them to pay you? So these things,
Yeah,
you don't just get money like that. But this man
exactly.
got $4.1 million,
Mm-hmm.
and it was using government land
Mm-hmm.
to provide the service.
Mhm.
Exactly.
And then these
But
people walk around, they have egos out of this world. They're very arrogant, they're very dismissive, rude, disrespectful. And then
mhm.
people don't want that. You shouldn't complain. So, what I'm supposed to do?
Exactly.
You're lucky that we have been chosen a different route with it,
Mm-hmm.
which would be something that, well, you're just lucky that it's just complaining because
Mm-hmm.
this could make people want to do more than just complain,
Exactly.
you know?
Yeah.
There's a lot of cover up that happens
Mhm.
in the Virgin Islands, and
Mm-hmm.
to me, everybody don't pay for those cover ups.
No, no, they don't.
They find scapegoats, and
Mm-hmm.
so even these five, is it five people that going
I
to
think
jail?
five now. It's up
Yeah.
to five now. I hear there gonna be more.
Okay, five and a possible one.
Yeah.
Like that's not the half of it. Trust
Mm-hmm.
and believe, because they were not able to do these things by themselves, singularly.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
The last one I heard about was this guy who done flew the coop and went all the way to the States. Is only because he got pulled over. No, he didn't get pulled over. His car broke down on the side of the road. And when his car broke down, they happened to run his plates and found out that he had an outstanding warrant for the Virgin Islands down here.
Mhm.
For once again, pretending to be a vendor or something like that and changing the address or something like that that a check was supposed to be going to or direct deposit was supposed to be going to. I don't know how they have checks and balances to avoid this kind of stuff as well. But anyhow, they didn't check it and they sent the check. They just sent the check to the other address that or the other bank account, I guess based on the routing number and so forth. And the money was deposited directly into his account, and he flew the coop before they could even catch on to what was going on. And it's only because once again his car broke down on the side of the road up in the States and they ran it as white like y'all weren't actively hunting this guy down. It ain't to say he changed his name or something like that, because his name went in the system, that's how they found him. So
That's the kind
find
of
out where he living. It's real easy. I used to work for an agency that used to hunt down people. And I was very effective of doing it. You know what I'm saying? And it
uh-huh.
was a government agency. So if I was able to do that, imagine what the government agency has access to and can do. Why take for his car breaking down before he was finally, you know what I mean, arrested and
Mhm.
extradited back to the Virgin
Mhm.
Islands to
Mhm.
face justice? It's sad.
Yeah, yeah.
And I saw a social media video that was
Mhm.
showing these people, and what was sad about it was some of those individuals were in law enforcement,
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm like, how do you continue to just rise up? You are in
Hmm.
law enforcement, but you are as corrupt as you can be.
Hmm. Yeah, once again, once they keep on getting away with it, they take it to a next level and a next level and a next level. And
Mhm.
they become complacent though. After getting away with it so much, they think they're above the law and they wouldn't get caught. and that's what jacked them up.
Mhm,
Mm.
mhm. Yeah, because so they get sloppy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and finally they catch up to them.
And the fences kind of give you a chance to run your race
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah.
Like they don't do it. They don't check you as soon as they find you doing stuff. They give you a few years to make sure they got enough on you,
Mm-hmm.
to
When they hold
convict
you, they
you.
hold you.
Yeah, and then you
Can't wait
have
for that.
the local people crying, "Oh God, that's too much time."
Yeah.
I'm like, huh?
Mm,
Oh yeah. How come they're so harsh on them? Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
He only steal $5,000. That's how much he get caught with. That ain't how much
exactly.
he really steal.
Yeah. I don't know. I want us to be winning in the Virgin Islands, and
Mm-hmm.
had to go from department to department to department and just do a whole overhaul. I
Yeah.
mean, just because I think many of the departments have challenges, and we just spoke about two entity, well, the education and
Mm-hmm.
WAPA, but we could go to health, we
Yeah.
could go to
Mm-hmm.
the department, we could go to, I mean, it could just from one to the next, there needs
Yeah.
work, there's work to be done. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that our tourism product, we need to really, really watch it, because I love traveling the Caribbean. I've been to many islands, and
Mm-hmm.
there we have some competitors out there,
Mm-hmm.
and if we want to continue to compete with them, we better tighten up our act.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because I know one of them for sure is St. Martin coming up. Because a matter of fact, it been up.
Yeah.
Because the as I said, I've been going there even after the hurricanes, and they have an international airport, like in the big jumbo jets and everything like that. And immediately right after the hurricane, their terminal had gotten demolished, and they had a temporary thing up in no time and running smoothly.
Yes,
I was
sir.
like, wow, there's still trafficking these thousands of people coming in and out every day, and the operation was running smooth. I was
Absolutely.
like, St. Thomas could never. Let our terminal had get mashed up like how their terminal had get mashed up, and it would have taken us a while to still get up and running the
Yeah.
way we belong running, man.
And Gail and I have been to St. Martin too, and we both
Mm-hmm.
would agree with you. And
Mm-hmm.
Gail, well, I remember when Gail went to St. Martin many years ago. Gail came back and she was like, St. Martin is St. Thomas on steroids.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
That's
saying.
That's what she
exactly what
said,
I said.
you
Yep.
know. And I love St. Martin. I can't wait to go back again. And then
Yeah,
I
me
think
too.
as we're talking about competition, like, I always
Mm-hmm.
telling Gail, well. I know St. John likes to act like we have the best water, but I live
Exactly.
on an island called Anguilla, and
Exactly.
uh,
Exactly. Because when I went there once again, last time I was in St. Martin, I did hop on a little boat over to Anguilla, and
yeah.
I stayed one night over in Anguilla, and I enjoyed my time there. Yeah, man.
So we here we go. We need to get our tourism. I mean, we cannot just think we're gonna just rely on
The US.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not when you have places that are, you know, offering very similar. You can get there.
Exactly.
The
You can
cost is
the
less.
cost.
Exactly. That
Well,
too. Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I went to Turks and Caicos, the flight wasn't long.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was comparable price to flying into St. Thomas,
Mm-hmm.
and the product was excellent.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, so I know, St. John, you think you something, but you got some
Mhm.
places that give you some
Exactly.
competition. You know,
Exactly. Exactly.
and St. Thomas should be giving more all-inclusive packages. If you aren't trying to be the St.
Mm-hmm.
Barb's or the St. John or the Anguilla, but your package should be that it should be comparable to those places that are affordable to go to.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can fly into St.
And
Thomas for cheap.
and even mentioning tying that into education too, we have to have. I remember I only had one semester of Virgin Islands history and one semester of Caribbean history in high school, right?
Mhm.
And in thinking about it, we need to bring that back because I'm not even sure if they even have that anymore. I heard it, they were saying that VI history is not being taught in the schools anymore. But one of the main things is to we still need to learn Caribbean history because what I learned, I love learning about places. I used to read a lot when I was younger, and I did learn about Turks and Caicos. Tourism is not their number one product. It's actually finance. They do a
Oh.
lot of day trading and all that kind of stuff there. And finance and the day trading and stuff is really their number one product. So in the same way, what I feel is if tourism is still our number one product, we should still, even as I said, study the other islands that are doing similar things to what we're doing and see what's working for them and even compound. Because I remember back in the day, as I mentioned, I was working at Coca-Cola. I don't know if y'all remember, they have a running joke on like the Oriental people and so forth, or the Asian people coming around with cameras, taking picture of everything. I remember they sitting on at my desk and you know what I mean, a Asian person is there taking a picture of me, and they go back to where they come from and do better. You know what I'm saying? Just improve on it. And it's in the same way that we could do the same thing. Just look at what somebody's doing. Look at the tourism product on an island that has some similar competencies to ours, and do better. Just take copy. Ain't nothing wrong with doing it, but even making it better. You understand? And it's helping us as a whole, and we should be able to do that. As I said, as similar for Turks and Caicos and any other place that's similar, small, but has a similar economy, or in terms of what do you call it, like what per capita or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And just improve on the product, man, because it is a product, and you can't be doing the same thing over and over. It's done said. My same friend who was talking about doing putting a Hall of Fame for the Virgin Islands down there. We have to do better. It's just they're trying to run on us the same system
Formula.
they've been running. Yeah, they've been running since '96 when I was in college. I mean, when I was in high school and so forth.
Yeah.
That's not going to work.
Yeah,
You
I
have to
agree
change
with
up
you.
your tourism product. You have to change up. It's not going to work now in 30 years later in 2026. It's not going to work. The same thing that's been.
But you know what you're describing, and here we go. That's
Mhm.
called market research.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So my undergrad is business, but I
Mhm.
concentrated in marketing. And that's
Mhm.
one of the things that we learned in college, that
Mhm.
you have to study and find out what your market demands.
Thank
And
you.
that has
Mhm.
changed. No,
Exactly.
the visitor today to the Virgins don't care about getting a whole bunch of jewelry and
Nope.
and liquor. They have that
Nope.
crap on the cruise ship.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
it's so funny because I was watching the sea trade, a little
Mhm.
snippet of what they're talking about up there.
Mhm.
And I didn't hear anything about changing our product to meet the needs,
Mhm. Mhm.
or any studies that are being done to find out what people really want when they come to the US Virgin Islands.
Correct.
It's not jewelry stores. People are not buying jewelry like that anymore.
Mhm.
Okay?
Exactly. That's
So
it's done. A thing of the past.
that's a thing of the past.
Mhm.
So we have to transform what we're doing. That downtown
Mhm.
area needs to be totally revitalized.
Exactly. Exactly.
You
Yeah,
know,
right. You're right.
people want experiences. People want
Exactly.
to feel like, okay, I came to the US Virgin and I had an experience. And
Exactly.
this is what makes them unique. You could go
Mhm.
downtown and you could go to the Hall of Fame museum. Then you
Yep.
could have see a demonstration of how they used to bake bread
Exactly.
back during the
Mhm.
slave time, slave
And then you
era.
get to taste the bread also and be like, wow.
Taste the bread.
Yeah.
Then you have cultural dancing. You learn. We took a
Mhm.
cultural dancing class.
Yes. Yep.
This is the kind of thing.
Mhm.
This is what would make us unique.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Not buying that. I ain't trying to squash anybody hustle, but them knickknacks at Vendors Plaza
Exactly. Exactly.
with St. Thomas on it. That's
Yeah.
not memorable. You could
Uh-huh.
get that in
Which is not
any
even
Caribbean
made
island.
here in the first place. I think we should, if we do sell stuff like that, little knickknacks, it should be something that's made here, even by the school children, and as in arts and crafts class and stuff
Absolutely.
like that. I would give money to that, to buying, you know what I mean? Instead
Absolutely.
of buying this other stuff that's made in China or
China.
whatever. Yeah, man.
Right. Yeah, local artists. We promote
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
People doing their paintings that is by artists
Yep.
from St. Thomas, St. John,
Exactly.
St.
Yeah.
Yep.
Croix. Jewelry handmade by
Exactly.
these are the things what people want to get, you know. So it's just to me it's the same old formula, and it's not helping us.
Yep, not at all.
No, no, no.
And all you could tout is that our cruise ship passengers has increased, and I think they said it's 70% of our visitors to the island is
Mm.
through the cruise ship.
Oh
Mm,
yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's what it said at the Sea Trade.
Mm.
70% of our tourism industry, the visitors are from cruise
Mhm.
ships.
So 70% that can literally get the liquor and jewelry and stuff. I mean, we've been on cruises. You could be right on the boat.
And
Exactly.
that's what they're doing.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. And
Cause
you had mentioned that VI history, you don't know if it's being taught. I don't know what the curriculum has now, but I know when I was
mhm.
a teacher there, we did have a VI history component in there.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I do feel that it could be a stronger infusion of it in
Mm-hmm.
there so that you are very, very clear that you
Hmm.
are um, learning about where you are from. And you
Exactly.
shouldn't have to wait. It should be from literally from first grade or kindergarten and just all throughout the levels because we
Hmm.
should be, by the time students are finished with 12th grade, they
Hmm.
should ready to be ambassadors for the Virgin Islands.
Correct.
You know?
Correct. I feel so.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
for us to have literally, and this is where I reserve my any commentary on St. Croix because my experience in St. Croix is so limited that I cannot speak unfavorably
Yeah.
about anything in St. Croix because I
Hmm.
have been there. I've been there, but it was a long, long time ago, so nothing current to speak on it. But
Hmm.
the fact that they don't know about St. John and some of us from St. John aren't necessarily versed on over there and
Hmm.
vice versa, who is responsible for that? I think
Okay.
the
Yeah.
school system could do a better job of making
Yeah.
sure that we get field trips to these places.
Hmm. Yep.
You
Yep.
know?
Yeah, and that too is very limited. You know, I don't remember ever going on any school trip to St. Croix when
Hmm.
I was in public school.
Hmm.
I do remember, of course, going to St. Thomas,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but my most of my interactions with people from St. Croix actually occurred when I was an adult.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Uh, and I had to travel for work.
Yeah.
But
Correct.
and in traveling there, I realized that they didn't know anything about St. John.
Yeah. Exactly.
I
Yep.
mean, it was very limited what they knew, and I didn't know
Hmm.
much about them either.
Hmm.
So I think definitely our school systems can do better.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. There's no reason why we should not be more unified and feel connected instead of feeling disconnected.
Hmm.
And I don't know if that will change. Um, I don't know if that will change when you have an island that is insisting on pushing crucian this and
Hmm.
crucian that, and it's the exact same thing that we have in St. Thomas and St. John.
Hmm.
Gary, you can get yourself in trouble. You know.
Well, I'm just saying how ridiculous it would be for us to just start saying St. John Callaloo and St. Jane and Johnny Cake.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They don't like when Gary and I. That's something that we don't like. You know, but
Uh-huh.
they don't like us to say that because they say
well, they
we could
can't.
do.
Well, they can't say it because it's also you can find
Hmm.
it in Anegada, Virgin Gorges, Van Dyke, and Tatola. The Virgin Islands is the Virgin Islands.
Hmm.
So don't try to do that. You could say there's a twist to it. You could say
Hmm.
that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
are the Virgin Islands.
Yeah. Correct.
Well, they are saying what they want.
Mhm.
So
And we say what we want. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. But it's good that within the three islands we have so much different flavors as well. Even
I
in
like it. I actually
the
like the flavor.
also good. Yeah.
I like
I
it.
wish we would learn more about each other. To be
Yeah.
honest, I wish we
Yeah.
would stop
Hmm.
this. I don't know how to make Johnny cake. We know how to make Johnny cake. I don't know how to make patty. I wish we would stop that and just
Yeah.
start
Yeah.
learning.
Hmm.
Victorians don't know how to cook. Who is the best cook? Like, Stop it.
Yeah.
Let's just learn more, you know?
Mhm.
I just think that's the problem that I see with this branding thing. It's like you're
Mhm.
showing up as you're the only one, like what my brother said, or
Yeah.
you're the best at it,
Yeah.
in
Mhm.
opposed to this is how we do it.
Yeah.
Um, and
Mhm.
Mhm.
I give them definitely credit. They are the best at preserving culture out
Mhm.
of all three islands.
Yes.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Mhm.
And I really respect them for that. But
Mhm.
I just think it's an injustice to us as a territory to
Mhm.
keep branding all of our traditions as crucial,
Yeah.
because the world needs to know the Virgin Islands.
Yeah. Correct. Mhm.
Yeah. So
And they could easily go right over to the British Virgin Islands and literally see similar to what is over here. So
Yeah.
there is a historical context in there that makes
Yeah.
us it's very clear that
Mhm.
there's many similarities, even though we do have our differences.
Yeah. Correct. Correct. So it's nice. I think it's to me. I think the madras is actually symbolic of it. You understand? You know, it's many different colors, but when they overlap, you know what I'm saying? It
Mhm.
makes a
mm,
whole beautiful pattern and everything like that. And I think that the madras itself is representative of the Virgin Islands, being many people. You know what I'm saying? But we just come together with our different colors and flavors and tastes and so forth.
Mhm.
and that's the part that's missing, the
Hmm.
coming
Exactly.
together.
Yeah.
Because we show up doing a lot of petty infighting stuff that don't make no sense.
Yeah, for sure.
And
For sure.
that's the part. Like, let's stop that, please.
Yes, hopefully, as I say, this being an election year, hopefully there could be some real change and so forth. I know a couple of the people who running for governor is looking to have young people, you know what I mean, leading the charge and so forth. So
Okay.
hopefully they hold true to that. And we
They
really,
always say that.
yeah, I know, but as I say, I would love to hold them to it and so forth. And hopefully we can move forward from there and from where we are into a beautiful thing in the future. So I love the Virgin Islands. I love
Yeah, we
it.
love the Virgin
I
Islands.
love to promote it and so forth. And I am an ambassador of the Virgin Islands. And I
Yes.
hate to hear when we hear anybody. A lot of people, you know what I mean, they would complain. There was a girl, a tourist, yeah, they're complaining. Saying she won't come back at the end of the video. I don't know if y'all saw
Mhm.
that video the
I
other day.
saw that video.
But to
Oh,
me, I think a
yes.
lot of people, especially as tourists, when I travel, I think one of the main things you have to do is do your research. You understand? And that's why one of the reasons why I do my videos, I always do like 10 things to do and this and that. And I need to give an update video, as a matter of fact, in 10 things to know before visiting the Virgin Islands, because
Mhm.
as time progresses, things do change. And so I think what people need to do is really do your research when you come into a place, because you hear it's the US. Don't be thinking, you know what I mean? That is going to be like where you came from or whatever. There's a big difference between island living and stateside living. And there are things you should know before you get here to make your whole stay on the island even better and so forth.
I agree with you, but I think also we have to take the even with the
Oh, yeah.
criticism that we don't like to hear, because nobody
Mhm.
likes to hear
Yeah,
negative
yeah,
things about your home.
yeah.
But you need to really listen sometimes to what the criticism is and
Hmm.
acknowledge, you know what, she's right about that.
Hmm. Correct,
That
correct.
wasn't a that's not that needs to be improved.
Mhm.
I see people a lot of times when they see those videos, we come
Mhm.
on there like some
Yeah,
bulldogs
yeah.
and you be criticizing them, don't come back and we don't want you
Yeah.
here.
I
And
saw that.
it's just, to me, that's not the way to go. The way to
No,
go is to, you know what, she was right about that. She
exactly.
had
Yeah.
that needs to be improved, and
Hmm.
we can improve it.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Yep.
Yeah. 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 That's true, Gail. We could stand to take some of the negativity and see opportunities, because from negative you can also create positives. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I
Like
saw I saw this one young lady. I believe I saw a young lady. She was walking, and she was saying she was at night and she had gone out, but the it was a power outage. And she was just showing that this is I'm here in St. Thomas and the power is out and I'm walking from wherever I was.
Mm-hmm.
I think the takeaway that was, I mean, it was some negative comments, but one of the things that they said was, see how safe it is late at night and use a woman, you could walk.
Exactly. Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah.
So it was funny to see that, but I was like saying to myself, they don't need to have no friggin' power outage all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
But,
So as you say, we all got to take the good with the bad,
mm,
and then make the best of it, and so forth. As you say,
mhm.
we as Virgin Islands are Virgin Islanders are resilient people, and so forth, and we just continue to roll with the punches, and as I say, strive to do better and get some people in there who will make some changes that have make a tangible difference
Yes.
for the whole
Yeah.
of the
But
Virgin
also
Islands.
do like what you say. I,
Mm-hmm.
I, I really respect you, Marcus, for what you're
Mm-hmm.
doing because that's trust me, people watch your videos.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Correct,
And I
correct.
mean, that's how we even met.
Okay, yeah, correct.
Because of the quality of the videos,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing that you was highlighting, Virgin Islands in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's needed, and I'm glad you're doing it. And like you
Mm-hmm.
say, you're ambassador of the Virgin Islands. I feel I'm an ambassador of the Virgin Islands too.
Oh yeah,
Because with my tart baking business,
yeah,
so I think that and the tartlady.com in case anybody wants to order
yeah.
some tarts.
Exactly.
Uh,
I will close up in where we at now, 155. Yeah, so I don't have
yeah.
y'all plug y'all handles and businesses and stuff like that
Yeah.
before we close out.
Yeah, I mean, Gil, you were definitely called and named an ambassador of the Virgin Islands several
Mm-hmm.
years ago.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think after he's passed, he put that
Mm.
out for the
Mm-hmm.
VI tourism. So yes, we show up and we represent in a positive way. And there's so many of us out there. My lane is to do content creation and primarily TikTok. And
Mm-hmm.
I certainly, when I started, I did not see no VI. It was a very limited VI presence. That's what
Mm-hmm.
I'll say. It
Correct,
was a
correct.
very limited VI presence. Um, and I was adamant that I was not going to get on there and be nothing but from the Virgin Islands. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and today I have seen that there's a lot of us out there,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember a young lady that I um, knew from St. John, actually. She was a student at the school that I taught at. She's a woman now. And I remember I shared with her, I'm so glad to see you on here. I said, but what I want you to do is to speak in your VI accent.
Yeah, correct.
I said that's what makes you unique. It's natural to you, and they can understand. They can understand what you're saying, and she is doing it now, and she's so
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, and I'm so proud of her.
Yeah,
And I just love to see that we are not ashamed to
yeah,
let people hear who we are, how how we say things, the nuances and stuff, and we know how to code switch, but
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's good, guys. That's why people say they love to watch my channel too, guys. They say you don't be on there yanking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
As I said, I lived in the States for more than 13 years, so I could code switch what I want.
Mhm.
People will never know. As I said, one time somebody in the break room heard me talking to my roommate, and they were like, "I didn't know you didn't speak Spanish."
You
I'm like,
see,
"Oh no, that was Spanish. That was
it was
English.
the
Just
Spanish.
a
Yeah,
different dialect."
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I say, well, we speak
yeah.
fast, and some words we even run them together.
Exactly. But
Right, right.
I don't see, I don't see why we should curb it. These people from these other islands, they're not curbing it.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
why we can't have our accent and be proud to say what it is? And I remember when I had started teaching in here, and I remember the students in the class were trying to say they didn't understand what I was saying,
Hmm.
and that is why they just struggle with. They're just trying to make excuses.
Yeah, yeah.
I let them know, well, you have 180 days to understand so you could pass. So you better start listening very clearly because I speak very good English. So
Mhm.
you have 180 days to get your ear to understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, be your authentic self. I learned that
Mhm.
from a long time ago from my former English teacher, Mr. Elroy Sproul. And
Mhm.
he said, you can speak in your accent, but just speak standard English,
Mhm.
Yeah.
so everybody could understand. And I
Yeah.
took that through college, undergrad, grad school. And when I got to grad school, I had so many different types of students that were from Africa,
Yeah.
from China. And when I heard their English compared to my English, I
Mhm.
say I have nothing to worry about because they speak definitely the best English they can, and I could barely understand them. So I know they could understand me. you know?
Mhm.
So be your authentic self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's cool. But anyhow, guys, we right at the 2 hour mark, so I can go ahead and end it off here.
Okay.
All
Um,
right.
Gail, just go ahead and plug your business and so forth. And
Oh, okay.
Gary, share your handle too for TikTok and so forth, so people could go ahead and add you
Mhm.
as well.
So if you're ever in need of the most delicious, authentic, I'll say Virgin Islands tarts,
Yeah.
you go to the tartlady.com and place your order anytime. I am actually open for business throughout the year, not just for Thanksgiving. So you can order your tarts anytime and I will mail them to you.
Okay, and I would. So I am a TikToker. I have two TikTok pages. My primary one is Gary J5943, and on that page you would see that I am doing what is called affiliate marketing. So see, that's another thing that you can make money and make a living off of by literally promoting products and getting a commission for it. Um, and so I do that on that page, and then I have um, another TikTok page that started, which is Gary J 8622, and that's where I do more of just regular content. So that's for TikTok. And then Gail and I have a YouTube page, and it's Gail and Gary USVI, Gail and Gary USVI, and we're trying to get like Marcus and get to the point where we are monetized on
Yeah.
there and seeing what that feels like. But
Mhm.
I just want you guys to know this, so a lot of the younger ones don't sleep on content creation, don't
Mhm.
sleep on it. um, Everything is content, and you could see there's all types out there, and you can make money from it. And I literally was a school teacher and a corporate trainer and had my degrees, went to school, and now I am just on there smiling and being myself.
I forgot to mention our short-term rental, even though we are closed currently because we're trying to find our backup energy solutions.
Mhm.
When we are back up and running, we are on Airbnb, and the name of the cottage is Starfruit Cottage. So if you ever are looking for an affordable place to stay on St. John, look us up on Airbnb, Starfruit Cottage.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you guys for being on the live with me tonight. It's been an excellent conversation. I'm sure anybody watching would be enriched by the topics we were discussing and so forth. To any of you guys watching, share any of your frustrations. If you live in the Virgin Islands, share any of your frustrations that you may be currently going through, and not only your frustrations, but share some insight into what could be done as well to make the Virgin Islands on a whole a better place to live. Now, we are living here, and what affects one of us, even if we don't live here, what affects one of us could eventually end up affecting all of us on a whole. So once again, as I like to say, thank you for watching this video. This has been another video by mBlyden Vlogs. My handle is mBlyden Vlogs and everything, TikTok, Instagram, and on Facebook as well. You can find me on all social media. And once again, thank you for watching. As I like to say, be sure to leave your mark on the world and VI to the world.
All
Thank you
right.
very much. Okay, let me go ahead and end stream.